technical difficulties. Normally this is an in-person event, so this is the university's first time doing this all online, which there's been more technical challenges, I think, than our recruitment department expected. Anyway, so I'm glad that many of you were able to find us today, and welcome. So, and again, just to make sure this runs smoothly from here on, if anyone that's not a presenter, so all of our new incoming students, if you could mute your microphone, make sure your video's off, it just makes things run a little bit better with Zoom. If you have questions while we're chatting, or while we're talking, there's the chat feature, which if you go on the bottom of your screen, just click on chat, enter something in there, and we'll definitely answer your questions at the end of our presentation here. But yeah, just want to say welcome to you all. Thank you so much for your patience. We're only almost 45 minutes behind here, but we will get going. So just to let you know who we have with us today. My name's Erin Patching. I am a program specialist admissions officer with the Faculty of Nursing at the University of Calgary. And then I'm just going to have everyone else introduce themselves, because then they should be able to kind of pop up on your screen, and you'll see our esteemed participants and volunteers that I have today. So Emma, do you want to introduce yourself?
Hi there, my name is Emma Lockyer. I am also an admissions officer and program specialist in the Faculty of Nursing's undergraduate programs. Welcome.
Jonah?
Hi everyone, my name is Jonah Fang. I'm a fourth-year nursing student and the current SU rep. Nice to meet you all.
Brenna?
Hey guys, I'm Brenna Nodge. I am also a fourth-year student and the current VP Finance for UNS this year. Welcome.
Hi guys, my name is Stephanie Braun. I was a on the year one nursing council, and now I'm a third-year nursing student, so I just finished my second year.
Hi everyone, my name is Christina Horsfield. I'm also going into my third year of nursing, and I also was on the year one nursing council as well.
Hi everybody, I'm Victoria. I'm a fourth year nursing student. Last year I was a third year nursing student representative, and I was also on the year one nursing council, and I'm glad that you guys are all here today.
Yeah, thank you. I'm glad you all were able to make it. I'm sure it was probably challenging on your end when likely the links that you had weren't working and things weren't working. So probably a frustrating start to the morning, but those of you that got here, I'm glad you're here. So basically our presentation, we're just gonna, from previous events that we've had for you at UCalgary, we found that a lot of incoming students really were interested in talking to current students about their experience in the program and had lots of questions for them. So that's kind of going to be the focus of our presentation today. So I basically asked our volunteers things they wish they knew before starting nursing at University of Calgary. So we'll start with Victoria, if you want to speak to that.
For sure. So my first point on the slides here is the importance of networking. And it's something that I find first year or prospective university students kind of overlook, because you think like, what will networking get me? What kind of is networking? Is there an actual textbook definition? You never really know the answer, because everyone kind of gets something different out of networking. And it can be something as simple and small as kind of meeting someone in your lecture, becoming friends with them, seeing them at an event, and then potentially working with them later, or meeting an employer or something like that. And in my case, I've worked as like a student advisor at the U of C for a year. I've worked as a program development for student recreational programs. It's been a lot of fun, and I had no idea that these jobs and these volunteer positions and opportunities would stem from simply meeting someone who would introduce me to someone else, or saying hi to the person next to me in class. And this kind of stems into my next points as well, but I guess we'll move in order. So the next one I have is about the Nclex exam. So one other thing I wish I knew about nursing is that there's a big old grand registered nursing exam that officially makes you a registered nurse. And you can look this, there's all kinds of information online, or I'm happy to answer a few questions about it to my limited understanding. But basically, whenever you graduate as like a student nurse, you do your 4 years of programming, you have to take one national exam called the Nclex. And once you pass that, you're a registered nurse pretty much. So yeah, that's basically that I wish I knew. Kind of fun to know. There's also like Nclex style questions, and that's pretty cool as well. For clinical hours, so when you do clinical, working basically in a hospital, a unit, at your practicum, the hours can be very early. I myself did not anticipate some 6 a.m., 6:30 a.m. starts. So that's just something else I wish someone would have told me. Not that it makes much of a difference, but if you're like a night owl like me, it does take some time to kind of readjust your schedule to make sure you're getting your sleep and that you're well prepared for your clinical hours the next day. The next point I have is that first year classes are scattered across campus. And what I mean by this is in my first year of nursing, I took classes, and I mean, even in my second year, some of my nursing classes were in Eng. And a few other of my peers can attest to this as well. Like that was kind of unexpected for me. I didn't expect to be in engineering to take a nursing course, but hey, you roll with it. The content was still there, still awesome. And last but not least, friendships, which kind of ties into my first point as well with the importance of networking. Honestly, guys, everyone's in the same boat as a first-year student. My best advice to you guys would be to introduce yourself to the person next to you. You're going to be taking Kines in your first year, so just really put yourself out there. Say hi to the person next to you. Gum makes great friends, let me just say. Bring some gummies, bring some snacks, make someone smile, tell a joke. Honestly, just say hi to the people around you. I wish I started sooner, but like that's a huge piece of advice that I would give. That's it for me.
Awesome. Thanks, Victoria. Brenna.
Okay, so in your first year of nursing is really the only time throughout your degree that you get to take like option classes. So like anthropology, for example, psychology, and then after your first year, everything is very nursing specific. So when you're picking classes, pick something you enjoy, because I wish in my first year that I would have taken a couple different classes than I did, just because I didn't really realize that would be my only chance to really like learn about base anthropology is my best example. My second point is don't be afraid to ask for help. It's very nerve-wracking, I find, especially my first year. I like struggled with a couple classes, and I wish I would have reached out to professors sooner than I had, because like they're there to help. That's their job, and don't be intimidated by them. They may seem scary, but like a lot of them are really nice. And my third point is I went into nursing and I thought I was going to be a pediatric nurse. I was peds. I loved kids. I was like, that is the only thing I want to do. And as I progressed through the program, my like type of nurse, I guess, that I want to be has like changed, and that's okay. And if that happens to you, that's okay. You get experiences, you get exposed to different things, and your mind might change, or you might like stick with your original idea, and that's awesome too.
Excellent. Thanks, Brenna. Christina.
So my point that I just want to talk about, something I wish I knew before. I know when I came into this program, I was very like a student, like memorize everything, especially in biology and math classes and stuff like that. And then coming into the nursing program, you kind of get to realize that you also need to know your material really well, but you also need to understand it. So in a way that you can put it towards your future practice, and also like teaching future patients and stuff like that. So I think that's a really big point for me, just things I wish I knew so I could critique my studying in a way that made me understand the information more. So that's just something I wanted to talk about for the first years.
Thanks, Christina. Jonah.
Okay, so I have 2 points. So one is just how important it is to get involved with the school and faculty once you're in university. University for a lot of people, it's a really weird time where a lot of your friends have moved away, or maybe you only have a couple friends left. If you have tons of friends at the University of Calgary, that's great, but it's always better to kind of spread out, introduce yourself to new people, join new clubs that you're interested in, help out faculty if you can, because that'd be great, and just kind of figure out what you want to do during your time, because we can't just study all the time and go home. That's a little boring. And the second of all, to kind of be the opposite of what Brenna said, when I entered the University of Calgary and entered the Faculty of Nursing, I wasn't sure if it was going to be something I was interested in. I'm just like, nursing sounds cool, so let me get into it. So it's totally okay to be unsure of what you want to do going into the nursing degree, because the first year experience offers a lot of variety and it gives you that taste of nursing. So then you can finally, dip your toes in and see if that's something for you. Okay.
Thanks, Jonah. Stephanie.
All right, so I just have a couple points. Going into nursing, everybody, all my friends that were already in nursing school and everybody who had been in nursing that I knew, always told me that it was really difficult and that it was the toughest 4 years of their life, which maybe in some sense is true. It'll be tough, but it's not difficult in the sense that I thought it would be. And if there's anything that you're struggling with, there's always support for you. So writing support, I used some support to kind of transition into the university scholarly type of writing, which I was really bad at. I was terrible in LA in high school, but all the support from the university really helped me to transition into that. And emotional support as well. If you're struggling with anything, the Faculty of Nursing is like a little family. So there's always support, whether it's school related or not. And yeah, that's something I kind of wish I knew going into university.
Awesome. Thanks, Stephanie. For emotional support, we have a dog that we're going to have on campus soon. So that's something cool that's coming up here.
Just to chime in, that's specifically for the Faculty of Nursing. We are piloting that project. So we're the only faculty that's going to have a dog.
Yeah. He's very cute. He's still a puppy. Anyways, I believe Jack is his name, I believe. So you'll all be able to someday meet Jack. So the next thing I wanted to go to here was notable things that happened in people's first year. So Brenna, do you want to start with that?
Yes. Okay. So one of my favorite memories from first year actually I guess happened before I technically started university. I came to the you at UCalgary nursing event. It looked a little bit different because it wasn't online, and it was just really cool, I guess, to come into the faculty and tour it again, because I hadn't been on campus since open house, and I was like, wow, this is cool. This is somewhere I want to be. I was super excited. And yeah, we got to meet some cool upper year students. They showed us how to take vital signs. I distinctly remember, and it was a good event. I liked it.
Nice, thanks, Brenna. Well, and hopefully today it won't be quite the same as meeting everyone in person, but hopefully you'll still all get something out of this today. So Christina.
So one of the things that I got involved in year one that was definitely a great experience is the Year One Nursing Council. So I was academic chair. So it's something you can apply for in your first year. And I would definitely recommend it if you have the chance, because it's really fun. You get to meet people, you get to get involved with the faculty. I know in first year, you kind of feel isolated from the rest of the faculty sometimes. So it's great to get in this council and be involved. So I really enjoyed that. And then also something else that happened in first year, you guys will probably meet Dr. Carol Kroger. She's one of the Kines instructors. She's an awesome instructor. And she gave some students in her lecture class a chance to come to her lab. And we got to see a real live functioning pig heart and lungs. They were doing a little bit of kind of an experiment for testing and stuff. And that was a really cool experience. So that's something that definitely improved first year for me.
Awesome. Jonah.
So when I was thinking back to my first year and how long ago that was, there were a couple of things that stood out. One was just orientation week. So I believe it's so 2 days, be right before university starts. You can come on campus, meet your fellow classmates or in your faculty for that specific year, introduce yourselves, be a little bit more comfortable around surroundings, and have some older students lead you around and get you comfortable with the university. Second of all, like what Christina said, the Year One Nursing Council, I was there for my first year too. I was the co-chair. It was a really fun time. Got to talk to a lot of nursing students and a lot of faculty. Third is Clubs Week. just because I really like doing all those extracurricular things. So I joined sustainability, I joined origami making club just to try to branch out, see what I liked. And the last thing is Bermuda Short Stay. For students who don't know, on the last day of school, it's just kind of a big celebration for your academic year, just to celebrate that you're done. There's a lot of things going on in Mac Hall, a lot of things going on other places. It's a really cool place because everyone's free right before our exams happen and you just want to de-stress.
Thanks, Jonah. Stephanie.
Okay, so like Christina, I was in her kinesiology class as well. So once we kind of got familiar with the cadavers, Dr. Kroger, she is the best, it's true. She did give us that opportunity, and we actually had the opportunity to feel the pig heart with our hands. And she let us not wear gloves, which was kind of awesome. So that was really notable for me. Also the U1 Nursing Council events, they usually have pizza, games, and learning activities. So Christina was the VP academic, so she was kind of organizing the academic side of those events that would support you through your exams, and they were really, really, really helpful. Like, kind of got me through those exams. And yeah, you build lots of friendships at those events. And if you join the Year One Nursing Council, you get a free lunch once a week for the year, which is nice at the meetings. So either pizza or Subway usually, but it's kind of the best. So those were some notable things for me in my first year.
Thanks, Stephanie. There's definitely no shortage of events and ways to meet other nursing students in our nice small faculty, which is definitely a difference from that of other large, huge faculties on campus. So, Victoria.
Yeah, so I feel like Yonk has been talked about a bunch and everyone has kind of a different experience with it. I totally agree with like the free food. It was amazing. You get to hang out with your council and plan fun things, and then you get to plan fun events to socialize with other nursing students. Honestly, what more could you ask for? Definitely vouch for it. Something else that I found notable in my first year is the campus tours. I attended one before coming to the university, and I ended up leading campus tours in my second semester at the University of Calgary, both in a volunteer and job position. And that's awesome because I got to like lead prospective and incoming first year students to like across the campus and answer their questions, tell them fun little facts, and I learned so much about the university and what they had to offer. So if you have a chance to attend a campus tour or lead one, do it. Meeting students from other faculties. This kind of goes along what I mentioned earlier about it being in Kines and saying hi to the person next to you, or just meeting people from different faculties studying different things. Because honestly, the things they're studying, we can't all study everything. So talking to the people who study other things, it's so cool to get to know like what they're passionate about and why they're passionate and what kind of things they are learning. So definitely take that opportunity. Also getting involved, as kind of mentioned earlier, both in volunteer or work positions, seek those chances, seek those connections, get in there, make the most out of it. If it helps you, make a list. That's what I did, and I found it very beneficial in my experience so far. Also learning what nursing meant, because in nursing we take theory courses and have clinical like practicums. That's all in second year. In first year you're taking more so the core courses, but once you get into the nursing courses, you'll truly like find out what nursing means to you, because I didn't know what nursing meant when I went into nursing, like not officially or anything. So having my experiences so far has helped me shape my definition and learn what it means to me. Also, connect with your upper year nursing mentors, talk to the people in UNS. We have a great list of people running the UNS right now, so get to know them, get to know what they do, what they have to offer. They have valuable experience to share with you, and I hope that I'll encourage you to kind of do that because it really helped me.
That's great. Thanks, Victoria. So I just wanted, I mean, a lot of the stuff that everyone's talked about so far has been memorable, but just specific things in the program that have really stood out as memorable experience. So just to get our volunteers to speak to that, so we'll start with Christina.
So something, again, I know anatomy labs, Kines anatomy labs have been talked about, but you do get to work with cadavers in the lab. And that's a really cool experience. It's not an experience that every nursing university gets to have. So it's really cool. And the lab, the people that you work with, like your TAs, are awesome. They teach you lots of cool tricks to learn the anatomy. So that was a really great experience for me. And then another thing, like going into second year, I just finished my second year of nursing. The clinical experiences you get to have are really awesome. You get to finally work with some patients and some residents in different ways. For me personally, I got in my first semester, I was working with an adult day program, and that was really awesome to connect with some of these people, to get to know their stories, and just work in my way a little bit more into nursing and what it is. And then you also get the chance in second semester to be a part of a long-term care facility. So that's a really great experience, again, getting into nursing and getting into what it really means and what you're really doing and your role as a nurse. So that was a really good experience for me.
Thanks, Christina. Jonah.
Okay, so we've talked about UNS a lot, and maybe we should have taken this a second to tell you what UNS actually is. So it's the Undergraduate Nursing Society. It's the student-based organization that kind of advocates for our students in our Faculty of Nursing. It's made up of 10 or 11 people, all elected by the body. So it's really cool. And we try to do our best to make your student lives more memorable and better academically, socially, whatever it may be. I've been on UNS since first year, actually, I think. And it's always been a great experience because you get to see the inner workings of how we function as a faculty and how we can kind of better ourselves. Second, like what Christina said, working with numerous different types of populations and patients in our clinical experiences. So for me, I worked with Morley High School, which is outside in like 45 minutes from Calgary, and that was really cool. I've worked at the Children's Hospital, I worked at PLC, I've worked at long-term centers. So it's really interesting to meet all these people and get to know their stories as well. Yeah.
Thanks, Jonah. Stephanie.
So some of the most memorable experiences that I've had so far have definitely been within the second year, just because you kind of get out into the community and actually starting the nursing work. So I got to work in a community setting. I worked in an elementary school. I was able to work in a daycare and learn about all different ages. I was in a long-term care facility working with dementia clients, so working with people with different cognitive abilities and different cultures all throughout the semesters. And yeah, I thought it was really cool applying year one kinesiology knowledge, so learning about the anatomy and stuff, and then learning how to listen to that and apply that and listen to the heart and lungs and figure out what you're hearing is really, really interesting. And then, yeah, just some unexpected learning experiences as well. So stuff will pop up that and throughout your learning experience that'll be really exciting and unique. So I got some opportunities to watch some intense wound care and participate in like community barbecues and lots of just fun social events and getting to know lots of different types of people.
Thanks, Stephanie. Sorry, just a moment here. Victoria.
Yeah, so some memorable experiences for me were attending lunch and learns hosted by UNS, or as Jonah mentioned, the Undergraduate Nursing Society. And basically what a lunch and learn is they order a whole bunch of pizza for the nursing foyer, or like it's like a common nursing area that students can gather and socialize in. They throw a whole bunch of pizza down there, and they invite RNs, or registered nurses, from various scopes of practices, which kind of combines my first 2 points. And basically you sit down, you have pizza, you talk with your friends and socialize, and you meet RNs. And you talk with them about their experiences, because there's so many different kinds of nursing. There's like cardiology, which is like heart functioning. There's respiratory, like the lungs and stuff like that. You guys probably know this by now, but it's just super cool knowing like what these people do, what their responsibilities are, and asking what a day in the life is like. Because if you're curious, just ask over pizza. Makes everything better. Also, labs and clinical simulation, where I get to practice my skills. This kind of ties into my last point as well with my patient interview. For example, in one of my nursing courses that is essentially a pass or fail, what I had to do is basically conduct a patient interview and do like a health assessment or talk with them or get to know them. And I was really nervous for it at first, but I noticed that whenever we were in the interview sitting like across from each other, I felt more comfortable than I thought I would, because my primary goal there was to help and do my responsibilities and duties as like a nursing student, which essentially was just asking questions and asking like information about them to get their background to plan how I would like address their concerns, which sounds all like, maybe it might sound complex and confusing right now, but it makes more sense then. But honestly, after the interview, it went really well and I got some great feedback, and I use it towards developing myself personally and professionally as a student nurse. And as you can see in my fourth bullet point, we're kind of jumping all over the place here, but I had an awesome experience working in cardiology, mental health, and internal medicine. I've also worked in long-term care with dementia patients. There's just so many experiences within nursing, and you guys are going to love your clinical rotations, especially because it's like the practical application of the things you learn in theory. But yeah, you guys are going to have fun, and if you guys have questions about this, drop it in the chat.
Thanks, Victoria. Brenna.
Okay, so I like broke mine down by year kind of, so I'll just go through that. So my first year, some of my memorable experiences were cadaver labs, which has already been mentioned. It is super cool. A lot of my nursing friends who go to other universities didn't get to do that. It is, I like wish I could go back to the cadaver labs, like, to be honest. Second was we got to pick out stethoscopes at the end of our first year, and it was really fun, like choosing a color. I chose pink. I'm really happy with it. And it like makes you feel like, I guess, I don't want to say a real nurse, but like I found it like a very big step in my nursing education. And third, I met a really, really cool group of friends during orientation week, which, like as Jonah mentioned, is a really great event, and they have become a great support system throughout this program because, as mentioned before, we are all in the same boat. So having that like strong group of friends to support you throughout this time is super important, I found. Yeah, and we were on Young together, which was also great. Second year, so my first clinical rotations, I did a rotation in an adult day program with patients with dementia. We got to do art. That was really cool. It's great. You got to paint for an afternoon. Victoria was actually in that clinical group, so that's super fun. And then I also did a rotation in long-term care, and I worked on a stroke and neuro rehab unit. So in that rotation, I got to see a lot of interprofessional collaboration because there were so many different members of the team. I got to watch a lot of like physiotherapy, occupational therapy, and speech language therapy, which was really, really cool because like in my third year, I did not have time in the hospital to go check out those different like types of therapies, and I found it super like beneficial and interesting to see what patients were doing and how that benefited them. My third year definitely highlights were doing my first hospital rotation. So I did a rotation on a renal unit at Foot Hills, and I like at that moment I was like, I love nursing up to that point, but being in the hospital, I was like, yeah, this is for me. This is what I want to do. And it's been really good to experience different types of units and like see what I like.
Okay, thanks, Brenna. So now I'm just going to ask, what advice do you have for incoming students? And we'll start with Jonah.
I think this has been mentioned a couple of times just by everyone, but the undergraduate nursing culture at University of Calgary is great. We're like one little small community. Everyone kind of knows everyone. And if you're struggling with something, you're not alone. You didn't get that question right. Well, neither did I. So it's all good, you know? And the second one is just to get involved, whether it's the faculty itself or whether it's on campus with the students union, with other faculties doing research, our faculty, or just doing something fun like a board game night. We always encourage you guys just to come out, get involved, and meet new people. Yeah.
Thanks, Jonah. Stephanie.
So the first point I made was that nursing school isn't what you think it will be. And by that, I mean mostly that I thought it would be, like Christina said, I think, very memorizing a lot of things and studying day and night. But it's a lot more, there's a lot more to it than that. And it'll kind of force you to grow as a person. I found that it really helped me grow as a person myself, and just in 2 years, I feel like I've grown more than in at any other point in my life. So my advice is just work hard, do your best. You will be good enough. I didn't think I'd be good enough for nursing school, but I've been doing pretty well so far. So yeah, and then just support each other, love each other, and you'll do great.
Thanks, Stephanie. Christina.
So just building upon Stephanie's point too, just saying like, do your best. This is like the 4 years go by really fast. Like I thought this was going to be the longest 4 years of my life, but I'm already going into third year already. So it's crazy how fast time goes when you're in this program. But I know sometimes things can get stressful, like studying and practicing your skills and all that, but just have fun while you're doing it. Enjoy this time while you're learning. And like, this is a lifelong learning career, so just enjoy it and just have fun when you're in this program and do your best. That's all I can say.
Thanks, Christina. Brenna.
It's me. So I am an outer province student. I live in Saskatchewan. I'm currently at home. Anyway, find a strong support system in the city. That was super beneficial to me because I didn't have my parents there when I could phone them obviously, but I formed a very, very strong support system with friends because I couldn't contact my parents all the time if I was having a tough day. And secondly, get involved. It's been mentioned a lot, but do something other than school. I have been coaching figure skating since my first year, and that's such a nice break. I like getting involved in the nursing faculty. Just do what you like and make it something other than school, because even though school is important and studying is important, it is also important to do something else.
Thanks, Brenna. Victoria.
Yeah, so this is kind of a good way to build off of what Brenda mentioned, is don't forget your self-care at the same time, because as I mentioned, when you have those early clinical rotations, you're going to want to push your sleep schedule back. Don't pull a me in second year and sacrifice your nutrition and buy burgers every other week or something, or every other day, depending on the week, honestly. But just take care of yourself. Make sure you guys proper hygiene. If you feel like you're gonna do well, then you'll do much better than if you're not taking care of yourself, obviously. I kind of mentioned this, get to know the upper year students in the UNS and what they do, that networking, that piece of getting to know the people around you and your faculty. Also, Kines is a great class to go and try to locate your fellow nursing students, because I didn't know that almost my entire nursing faculty peers who were also taking Kines in my first year were in the Kines room, because the room is pretty big, and I didn't actually think about that, but I wish I would have. But being on Yonk, I was communications, so I was presenting a few times to that group anyway, so it was kind of cool to meet other fellow nursing students within the Kines room. So do that as well. My fourth point, nursing giving you opportunity to reflect on your skills. So definitely ask for feedback. Nursing is very hands-on and practical, as you can imagine. And the best person to receive feedback from and assess your learning is yourself, and asking from the people who are assessing you and who are observing you. They can tell you maybe how you presented better, because bedside manner is a thing in nursing, and there's lots of time to practice that. Don't worry about that, but just make sure you're reaching out and asking and seeking that feedback. I really think that's something you should put a focus on. And the last point, if you don't feel like you have things figured out yet, in my specific case, not being sure what kind of nursing you want to do because you learn that there's a lot of different kinds of nursing and you might not be familiar with it, don't sweat it, honestly. You've got lots of time to talk to RNs, lots of practical and clinical experience. There's a ton of kinds of nursing out there. I don't even know all the kinds of nursing, and I'm just stoked looking up about these different kinds of nursing. But just take a deep breath, stand back, get some experience in, talk to people, it'll be okay.
Awesome. Thanks, guys. Good advice. Now we're going to go to Emma for some registration information. And again, any questions you have for any of us, just a reminder to put your questions in chat, and when we're done at the end, we'll definitely address any questions. So I'm going to hand it over to Emma, who's going to talk about what should you register for in your first year.
All All right, so in the first year of nursing, it is a foundation year. So you're taking courses that are going to build a really strong foundation for your nursing education overall. So you take Kinesiology 259 and Kinesiology 260, which are the anatomy and physiology courses that our students have spoken so enthusiastically about. You have to enroll in Lecture 1. That is exclusively for nursing and kinesiology students. And you take any corresponding lab that goes with Lecture 1. So Kines 259, Part 1 is in the fall. Kines 260, which is Part 2, is in the winter. So you do take A&P all year. You take Academic Writing 303. This is a web-based course that you have to take in the winter. That's the only time it's offered. You do need a statistics course, either Stat 205 or Stat 213. You can take that in the fall or in the winter. 205 is more popular, but either one of them is fine. We don't make any distinction in terms of them for your course progression. You also need to take a philosophy course. We recommend Phil 249, 259, 313, or 347. And there are reserved seats in sections of those for nursing students that have been specifically selected so that they don't conflict with the anatomy and physiology and statistics courses. But if you want to take a different philosophy course and you can get a seat in it, that's totally fine. Then you take 5 additional options. They're not required. And
Oh, Emma's frozen here. Let's give it a minute here. Okay, Emma,
am I back?
Yeah, I think you're back.
Okay, sorry about that, guys.
Oh, no, you're frozen again, Emma.
Okay. I just turned my Okay, can you hear me now?
Yes.
Okay, let's try this with my video off. Okay, so you do need 5 additional options. We recommend science and psychology, but they're just recommendations. A lot of the science courses do have restrictions for students in Bachelor of Science programs, so you won't be able to enroll in those until later in the summer. I do highly recommend that you register for a full schedule of course, even if there's something else you want to take, in case you don't get a
Oh, we seem to have lost Emma. Give her another minute. I can speak to this as well. So yeah, Emma was just saying, make sure you register in all 5 of your courses, even if you're waiting for other ones to open up later in the spring or summer. Just make sure you have 5 registered, and then later, if something else opens up, then you can always drop something, because it's easier to do that than try to register in something later, because you might miss that other course as well. And as the students have mentioned, again, the psych and science are recommended in your options, but they're not required. It is the only time you get to have options that are not nursing specific courses. So if there's something you really want to take, first year is your time to do that. Emma, do we have you back at all? You're back? Okay, Emma, are you there?
Yes, I'm here.
Okay. If you want to talk about the admissions info, yeah.
Consent.
Oh, we still can't hear you, Emma. Okay, so I will just speak to this. Basically, you would have received some information from us so far, but we'll send you another big admission package in June with some information and forms that will need to be submitted before classes start. We're still kind of working on that and how we're going to do form submission and everything. So, but you will be notified more about that soon. You'll also get a student handbook sent to you in July. And then one other thing we wanted to note is that when registration opens up and you register for your courses, you're going to create a University of Calgary email account. That is where all the communications from us will go from that point on. So it's very, very important that once you create this account, that you remember to check the messages in that one, because sometimes there's really important information. So if you don't check that, you might miss out on something. You might miss out on the forms, package of forms that you need to fill out before class. So definitely make sure that you're going to check that, that email account. If Emma is back and here, if you have anything else.
I didn't really hear what you said. It kicked me right out of the meeting.
Oh.
So I don't know what to add, so I don't know what's been said.
Yeah, okay. I just basically went with what's on the slide here. So if you have anything above and beyond what's on the slide. No? Okay. So that is basically it. So now, again, we've got the chat open. If you have any other questions, I am going to do this and we can open it up. Okay. So I'm going to try to address questions here. Someone had asked about the transfer route. If you're not in nursing yet and you want to come in, there's just a question from Ashton here about the transfer route. Definitely just contact us at our email at nursing@ucalgary.ca if you want to know about the transfer route. So if you're not already admitted, contact us at nursing. So someone had asked about if any first-year student can join Yonk. And I believe any and everyone can. So the people that have been on Yonk, how do you join Yonk?
I can speak to that. So during like the first week of orientation, the Yonk coordinator will come out, she'll like pass out forms, get emails, and then she'll like contact you further, is my best explanation of it. And then I can also speak to the transfer thing. I'm personally not a transfer student, but I did just finish my term as peer mentorship co-chair. So I will pop my email in the chat, send me an email, and I can potentially hook you up and put you in contact with transfer students who have gone through like the transfer program. Can't promise their answer. They're in the middle of their spring semester right now and it sounds fairly busy, but I can try to put you in contact with someone.
Yeah, if you're not admitted, definitely contact nursing@ucalgary.ca first. And if you have admissions questions, we'll definitely address that through email. Okay, campus tour with everything happening with COVID. That I actually haven't heard anything about. I know our recruitment team is still very, very busy right now. And so it would be best to contact them. I'm trying to remember their contact. Emma?
Yeah. So if you just go on the University of Calgary website, they do have a whole page devoted to tours. I do know that our whole recruitment team is working remotely right now, and the University of Calgary is only allowing essential staff on campus. So there won't be any tours until people are allowed to return to the campus, essentially. But keep an eye on recruitment's page. They're the ones that run the tours.
Yeah, sorry to interrupt, Emma, if I can just have 1 second. So the likelihood of getting a tour on campus right now is probably not feasible at all. But if you come for the orientation week, older students will help lead you and basically give you a campus tour as well. So that happens in the first week of September, barring COVID.
And I think they are looking at doing like remote online type tours as well. Like I think even with this event, there's some extra things that you can click on the UCalgary webpage that you can check some things out. So definitely look into that as well if you wanted to check some stuff out today. Which had this been a live event, you would be getting a campus tour today. So I do know they have some things on the website right now too. Okay, there's someone asking about taking Sociology 311 for the statistics option instead of the Stat 205 or 213.
For direct entry, you have to take Stat 205 or Stat 213. It's a requirement. You cannot take any other course.
And then you asked, if you change your minds, can you switch out of the program beyond? You can definitely switch out of the program at any time if you decide you want nursing. A lot of those first year courses in particular will transfer to other faculties. Once you take nursing classes though, those are just, it's not gonna, you know, transfer probably towards any other degree requirements for other faculties, but you can always change your mind and transfer to another faculty if you decide it's not for you. Of course, you have to apply to that faculty and get in as well. But yeah, that's always a possibility. Okay, so someone wanted to know if the webinar will be able to be replayed. We have been recording this whole thing, including the first 45 minutes of us just sitting here waiting for everybody to get in. I don't know if that can be edited, hopefully it can, but we are recording this. I'm not sure, you know, where we can post it at this time, but again, it probably through the event page, UCalgary, so the recruitments department has asked us to record this so that they can post things up. So if you look through recruitment and events, this should be posted. So if you miss things, you should be able to check this out later. And what term do you decide what nursing you want to specialize in? I could talk about that, but is one of our people going into fourth year, do you want to explain how that works? Yeah, Brenna?
I'm muted. Yeah, so we just recently got to rank choices. So we got to look into different populations and different like option classes. So in fourth year, you get to basically pick a population that you're interested in. So I personally picked older adults. Yeah, so like not necessarily like specializing, but you have more choice. Okay.
Yeah.
Someone wants to cover what I missed.
Can I just chime in on that quick? We are a general Bachelor of Nursing, so there are no majors, no minors, and no specializations. Everyone graduates with the same degree, but you do get some opportunity in the fourth year of the program to explore areas that are of more interest to you. And it's not a choice, it's a ranking, and we try and get you one of your top picks, but you don't just get to choose whatever you want.
Yeah, that's correct. So yeah, so your final year, you get to rank some of your favorite ones. Hopefully you get one of your top choices. We definitely do our best to help that, but yeah, you don't choose necessarily a specialty specifically. Next one, is there a chance that our first semester could be online due to COVID? There is definitely a chance. We haven't heard anything about that yet. Most likely we will know more information about that fairly soon. But as one of our faculty constantly says, it's a very fluid situation. Things are constantly changing, and what's decided one week could change the next week. So I would say, honestly, the way things have been going, we'll know probably, things could change at any time. So maybe yes, maybe no. You know, they might decide one week that, okay, we're going to do it online, and then they might change at a time later. So it could be online. The faculty's been working really, really hard. Our spring semester is online right now, and the final end of our winter semester was, and I think the faculty is working very hard to make sure you still get a very valuable experience and that you still meet all your clinical competencies that you need to do. So yeah, what's happening with the COVID situation is just to be determined at this time. Can you take Nursing 201 as a junior open course for your first year?
Sorry, Nursing 201 is only offered at the University of Calgary's Qatar campus. It's part of an old curriculum that hasn't run in Calgary in about 10 years. So no, you cannot commute to Doha to take that course, and it's not an option for our students.
Okay. Can I use Math 31 as an option credit in university?
No. Math 31 does not transfer. There are some AP and IB courses that do come across as first year courses. And if you have those, once your final transcripts are received, you'll see that transfer credit posted in your student center, but that's all arranged through admissions. It's actually not arranged through our faculty.
Okay. So one person's asking to the students here, what is your recommendation for open option classes in your first year? I know we discussed that a little bit, as in take something you enjoy, but is there any specific courses anyone would recommend, or? Okay, Christina.
One of the courses I definitely recommend for your first year that you can take, and it definitely helps you in nursing as you continue through the program. It's called GRST 211. It's Tech Terms of Med Life and Science. It's a really good option course. It's online when I took it anyways. And you get to learn medical terminology and stuff like that. So it really helps you as you continue through your nursing program. So I definitely recommend that one.
Yeah, I've definitely heard that before too. Stephanie?
I would also recommend psychology. I know that's already a recommended course for nursing, but it really applies to the following courses, like the social aspects of nursing and kind of what you learn about that. So I took 2 psychology classes. There's some really interesting ones. I think I forget what the numbers were, but there was sexual psychology, I believe, and then just the basic intro psychology. But those really connected to my second year. And women's studies as well. I didn't know if that one would be incredibly beneficial for my nursing degree, but it really was. It teaches you all about like LGBTQ aspects and kind of helps you take that into account as a nurse. And yeah, those were probably the most applicable ones that I was able to take in my first year.
Thanks, Stephanie. Victoria?
Yeah, so for me, I definitely agree psychology was really a really good option that benefited me towards my later years of nursing. I specifically took Psych 203, really good. An easy course I took in my first year was History 200. Honestly, it was really easy. It's like story time in the classroom and then test your knowledge of the story time, which is what you'd expect for a history course. Was fun, really chill. GRST, as mentioned earlier, is also a really good option. I've heard nothing but good things about it. I didn't get to take it, but if you had the chance to, I would really recommend it. I've heard nothing but good things about it. I also took a Bio 205 for a spring course. My recommendation with like the bio and the sciences is you might see like a Bio 205 in comparison with a Chem 205, but there's also like a 241 edition both in Chem and Bio. And from my experience, the 241s are way more difficult. They're like a whole different thing in itself. Most of the time meant for people who want to specialize in biology. But my recommendation is if you're going to look for like a hard science, like a bio or a chem or physics or something, take the 205, take a 20 something, because the 240 somethings are usually much harder and much more advanced for like different faculty majors, if that makes sense.
Cool. Thanks. So there's a question. So for Kines 259 and 260, what's the difference between lecture 1 and 2? Schedule Builder says to take lecture 2. Did we get the lecture number?
No, so the lecture number did change this year. It's possible there's outdated information in Schedule Builder. So lecture 1 is reserved exclusively for nursing and kinesiology students. Lecture 2 is reserved for students not in one of those 2 programs. So the system will not let you enroll in lecture 2. You have to take lecture 1.
Cool. And this says, can I take Core 205 as an open option? I saw there was restrictions, but I don't understand the restrictions as it appears on the first year open option list.
So you can take anything you want as an open option as long as you're able to enroll in it. If there's restrictions, those have been set by the faculty that runs that course, and you have to comply with them. They're typically set because other students in other programs need that course for their program, so we have to make sure that they get it before students who are just taking it as an option are able to take it. So if you can get into it, you're absolutely welcome to take it, but I would recommend registering in something else while you wait for the restrictions to come down, just to make sure you get enough courses to progress to year 2.
Do clinicals last the whole day? Does one of our students want to take that one? Jonah?
So clinicals do last the whole day. As students, we don't get the 12-hour shifts, but we do get 8 hours. So what that looks like, it can be like a 6:30 to like 2 p.m. or like a 1:30 to kind of like close to 9:30, 10-ish. And that doesn't really happen till your second year. And even your second year, we're not going to give you the afternoon shifts. It's not likely. We're never going to have the graveyard shifts, which is like the ones that go from 10 to 6 in the morning. But you will have full day clinicals. It will take up your entire day. You won't have any courses during that day. And you'll have 2 of those days per the week, if that helps.
Good. Thanks, Jonah. Okay, we covered that one. Should we be putting classes in the cart before the registration appointment?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. It just makes it easier. It does take the load off the system as well if you've already loaded them. And then that way, if everything's loaded and everything's correct and you're allowed to register in the courses you have in your cart, you basically just have to click enroll and you'll get in. It'll save you time later. And as I said, it will make, it takes a lot of load off our system too, and it'll make registration smoother for everyone.
This says, is it okay to take 4 courses per semester and take some in spring? And that definitely yes, but make sure you get your required courses done in the fall and winter, just in case you cannot get them in the spring, because then if you don't get all your required courses done and you need the 10 courses to progress to year 2, 10 courses to progress, there's the 5 required courses. Make sure you get those all done, because if you save those for the spring, you don't get in, then you don't progress to year 2. So save your options for spring and summer if you want to do it that way. What happens if a course you want has a wait list?
You're welcome to waitlist for it, but again, we would recommend that you register in something else as well, just to make sure you have enough courses, because again, you do need the 10 courses to be allowed to progress to year 2. And if you get off that wait list and are able to get into the course, you can just drop the other one that was your backup.
Awesome. After building a schedule using Schedule Builder, how do you get the courses to go in your cart?
So if you need help with registration, we recommend booking an appointment with the NSRA program. If you just search for UCalgary NSRA, you'll find it. That's the New Student Registration Assistance Program, and they are student staff who are entirely dedicated to supporting detailed registration. They can book a virtual appointment with you, walk you through it, all of those kinds of things.
Since I received an AP credit for Biology 243, is it still possible to take Biology 205 as an option?
You need to contact the Faculty of Science about that. So it's their courses. They're the ones who set the prerequisites, the anti-requisites, etc. And unfortunately, there's just so many courses on campus that we can't know the restrictions for all of the ones outside of our faculty.
Okay, so for Core 205 and Core 207, it says there's 35 seats available, but they're all reserved. Should we just take it out of the cart?
Again, those seats are reserved for students in other programs right now, so you're not going to be able to get into them until the restrictions come down. And if there's only 35 seats, I just really don't know what the odds of that happening are. So again, I would really recommend registering in something else. Make note of what date it says that those restrictions come off. If there is one, in some cases there won't be. And then if there's seats available when the restrictions come down, go ahead and register and drop something else, but do make sure you have enough courses just in case.
So this one, we're building the schedule. It says some courses are full. How come some classes are full already?
Because continuing students, so students going into years 2, 3, and 4 of their programs at the University of Calgary, they registered back in March. So if the courses you're looking at are ones that continuing students need or want, then they would be potentially full because those students have already enrolled. And enrollment is done even as you get into higher level years. Enrollment appointments are assigned based on the number of credits that students have. So the more courses you've already taken, the earlier you register. That's done to make sure that students who are getting closer to the end of their program get the courses that they need to graduate.
Okay, so let me address, can I get an advisor to review my course schedule?
So again, if you want someone to review your course schedule in detail, you need to book an appointment with the NSRA program and they'll be able to help you with that.
What happens if mandatory classes for first year have a wait list or you don't get in?
So nursing students are guaranteed seats in all of the courses that you need. So those 5 mandatory courses, the anatomy and physiology, the academic writing, the statistics, and the philosophy, all of those have seats reserved for nursing students in some sections. So you are guaranteed to get seats in those. As long as you register before the restrictions come down, which is July 31st. If you wait until after July 31st, then you might run into problems. And unfortunately, that's when the restrictions came off. You had ample time to register. So you shouldn't, there's no reason you shouldn't get everything you need.
And this is asking, how do we get the early course registration? So for attending this event, and that should be if you signed up for the event and you have attended, you should be automatically, they will do thing this weekend, and you should be automatically signed up for an early registration appointment just for attending, for signing up. Is kinesiology 259 and 260 offered at multiple times each term?
One time slot each, but the labs run at multiple times. So you need to take the lecture and the lab. So there's only one lecture, but there's tons of labs.
Do I enroll in all my courses at once or in bits? Or can I change courses after enrollment?
I would recommend registering in everything at once to make sure that you get a schedule that works together, but you can change your courses after you enroll in them.
Okay. This one I think I already addressed. Sorry. Oh, this one is, sorry, besides just the mandatory philosophy option, can I take another philosophy course to fill up another open option? Definitely. Those courses, take all philosophy if you really want it for all your option courses. Those ones, whatever you like. Can I take another kines course as an open option? Again, anything you like.
As long as they're not restricted and don't have prerequisites. So anything that you are eligible to take, you can take.
Yeah. If there's an option course that's only available this summer, can you take it before beginning in September?
No, because you've been admitted as a student for the fall 2020 term. You are not a University of Calgary student until that time.
Can I get transfer credit from A levels?
So that would happen if you are eligible for transfer credit. That would be done through the admissions office. So you would see that posted in your student center later this summer, or you can contact them directly, but that's not something that the Faculty of Nursing is involved in.
And again, with the options, are there language courses you can take in an option? There's lots of language courses at the university. Just look at the prereqs, and if you can get in, then you can definitely take it. I see someone who was just asking the course code for the Greek and Roman studies that Christina was talking about with the medical terminology and everything. And Brenna has answered that here. It's a GRST 211. And I know that's a very, very popular course amongst our nursing students. What does a balanced schedule for first-year nursing students look like? That's a good question. Anyone?
Yeah.
What does balanced look like? I guess that might depend on the person. Like, it depends how much you have going on outside of university. Stephanie, do you have something to, yeah.
Yeah, I guess it's true what you were saying. It depends on the person. But for me, a lot of people like having days off, whereas if I have a day off, I will sleep in and not start work until the late afternoon. So I usually, to make my schedule more balanced, I would try to kind of spread out my courses as much as possible, and that way I can kind of do a little bit each day, and it makes it a lot easier to kind of focus on each individual course specifically, and that's kind of how I try to manage my courses when I can.
Yeah. And yeah, I think that could really vary from individual to individual, because I think we all have our different ways that we like to work. And sometimes it's hard to know how you want to work before you start university, because university is a very different way of studying and working than high school. So yeah, I think that's a tough question that can depend from person to person. I'm waiting for AP scores to arrive at admissions. Plan on getting credit. Should I register 9 courses or register in 10 until the scores are received and verified?
Register in 10 just in case.
It doesn't hurt. You can always drop one. And then you
don't pay your tuition till into September, so there's no loss to registering for something now and dropping it before then.
Huh. So this person just wants the nursing students to speak anecdotally. Should I build a schedule of the courses are spaced out across the week, or more courses on certain days, or no courses on Tuesday, Thursdays? What are our nursing students' thoughts and experiences on that one? So Christina?
Sorry, Jonah, I'll let you go after. For me, I work part-time, so I built my schedule around kind of working, because first year is a little more flexible than the rest of your years in nursing school. So I had my classes that I could schedule in the mornings and then kind of have the afternoons off to have some time in between classes and then going to work to doing some homework or stuff like that. So it's totally up to you what you feel is best for your schedule, but I think working it around something or having some time in between classes is really good, just to have time to do studying or take a break or whatever.
Jonah, you had something to add too, or?
Yeah, so I did kind of a similar thing. So because for me, Kines was Mondays at 8 a.m., I try to shove like a lot more courses in right after that. So I have an 8 a.m., a 9 a.m., take an hour break, have an 11. And then my Tuesdays and Thursdays are a little bit more freed up in that way. I didn't prefer having a day off because I would just kind of mess around and wouldn't get anything done productively. And then I could have the afternoon to hang out and the evening to work if I needed to.
Okay. Victoria?
Yeah, one thing I'd also like to mention is it also kind of depends on like how far your commute is to the U of C and like where you're starting from. I'll give an example. In my first year, I lived about an hour away from the U of C, and I regretted in my first year having classes that, sometimes it would just be my 15-minute history class that I show up on campus for, but I still commute like an hour there for an hour class and then an hour home. So really consider, if you live like 15 minutes away, no problem. 10-minute walk, no problem. You can space it out evenly. But just in addition to the points being mentioned, consider your travel time and think about, if you want to be on campus, commuting that 1 hour to be on campus for a certain amount of like classes with breaks in between. Don't overwork yourself. And then just being efficient with your time that way, if that makes sense.
Thanks. Okay, so what's the difference between a lecture and a tutorial, and do I have to attend the tutorial?
Yeah, so I mean, a lecture is usually going to be a larger group of students in like a lecture hall, whereas the tutorials can be a variety of different formats, but they'll typically be much smaller groups of students. And generally, yes, you will have to attend both. They're both required as part of the course. That's why you have to register for both.
Awesome. So I see that Emma has already answered this in the chat. The thing to get the advisors, so the NSRA, the New Student Registration Assistant, Emma has put the link in that. So if you want help with registering with your courses, the NSRA is a place that you can definitely contact. And then this is again about CNEAS 259 and 260. Do we register only in lecture 1? Okay, so yeah, yes, definitely just lecture 1. Are we automatically enrolled in lecture 1? No, no, that you have to select. Although the other ones should might have restrictions. Do they have restrictions, Emma?
Yeah, so there's only 2 lectures. There's lecture 1 and lecture 2. Lecture 1 is only for students in nursing and kinesiology, and lecture 2 is for students who are in a faculty that is not one of those 2 faculties. So the system will physically not let you register in lecture 2 because it's nursing students are restricted from registering in it. You will have to register in lecture 1. It won't let you register anything else.
Okay. This says, if you've done dual credit for a class such as Psych 203 before you start, will that credit transfer?
So that will be processed by admissions, probably later in the summer. Again, as with the AP credit, I highly recommend registering in 10 courses just to make sure you have everything. And then once that dual credit is posted, as long as it gets approved, then you can drop a course.
This says, I saw somewhere that final transcripts for grade 12 high school prereq courses for nursing are due December 20th as opposed to July or August. Is this correct? You want to take that one, Emma?
Sure. So yes, it is correct. This has been done as a result of the COVID pandemic because some students, especially international students, it is just going to take longer to get documents to us. If you're a student in Canada, we aren't anticipating significant delays with the transcripts just because of the way those systems are set up, and we do receive most of them electronically already. But yes, technically students do have until December 20th to submit their transcripts for these courses. So high school prerequisites have been waived for this term, and students will be reviewed at the end of December in the event that their transcripts don't come in. But again, if you're studying at a Canadian high school, we don't anticipate that this will be an issue. It was primarily done to support international students.
And this is asking, is the nursing program flexible with student athletics?
So year 1, yes, because your courses are all over campus and you can build your schedule to suit your needs. In the upper years, we definitely do have lots of dinos athletes. However, nursing has to be your priority. So students are expected to attend all of their clinical courses. Missing more than 3 days of clinical does put you at risk for not passing the course. We do work with student athletes to try and get them into schedules that work best for their sport. And student athletes are expected to meet with our associate dean at the start of the year to work through these things. But we do our absolute best to support athletes. If you are a student athlete, send us an email at nursing@ucalgary.ca. We can give you some more detailed information. It does depend some on the sport because some sports are more demanding than others.
How do we know our admission average?
I don't know that those are typically released to students. If you've been admitted to the program, you've met our admitting average, which as of this week is 98.4 or higher.
98.4?
Or 89.4, sorry.
Yeah, really high.
Yeah, 89.4 or higher. If there's a reason that you really feel you need this information, you can send us an email and we can look it up for you, but it's generally not a piece of information that students need.
Okay. Do you recommend Stat 205 or 213? Which is better?
Students, do you have any experience with this?
Any thoughts? And
I took 205. Yeah, I took 205 as a nursing student, and I found it like okay for stats. Stats are not my strong suit in any way, shape, or form. And I had friends who took 213 and found it very difficult. That's very anecdotal, and then ended up transferring to 205. That's very anecdotal, so take it with a grain of salt.
It's what I've heard as well, but I don't know. Christina, did you want to say something too?
I was just going to say the same thing as Brenna. I personally enrolled in 205 and I found it a little easier. And then friends who did go into 213, they had a more difficult time with the content. So if you're looking, like if you're very maybe math or physics oriented, you might have a better time in 213. But I think overall 205 is a pretty good one to take.
Okay. Gosh, I think, oh, Stephanie?
Yeah, I was just gonna add on to that. I've heard that 213 is a little bit more difficult, and in high school, physics and math was my favorite subject and was my strong suit, and I still struggled with just the 205. So it is a very new and different kind of math science type course. So if you're looking for a challenge, 213 might be all right, but for me, I definitely needed to stick to the 205.
Excellent. Okay, I'm not sure. This meeting was scheduled up to 11 o'clock. I see we still have some questions here, so I'm not sure. I'm just trying to think of how that was scheduled with Zoom. I hopefully we don't get kicked out at 11. But we'll keep trying to answer your questions here. Okay, lectures for one of the courses I added are off campus or off campus halls far from campus.
Most courses that are scheduled as off campus are outside of the city of Calgary. You need to be registering only in courses that are on campus.
If a course has all...
Can I just tell you, one exception to that is nursing clinicals will appear as off campus in your later years, but for the courses you're taking in year one, you need to be taking on campus courses.
If a course has all its seats reserved for certain students and doesn't have a wait list, does this mean that that you can't register in it?
Yeah, if it's restricted to certain students, then you can't register in it right now. If those restrictions come down later in the summer and there are available seats, then you could potentially register.
This is when building a schedule, is it recommended to complete all required courses first and then the options, or spread it out throughout more of the year? Again, just make sure you get your required courses done in the fall and winter. And if you want to take some in the spring, option ones in the spring, go for it.
You can't take all of your required courses at once because, I mean, Kines 259 is fall, Kines 260 is winter, academic writing is only in the winter, so that's automatically courses that are spread between your two terms right off the bat. So other than that, other than those ones which have to be taken in those defined terms, you can take your courses whenever you want.
This is a good question. If we're accepted with early admission, is our spot finalized? I checked the COVID FAQ and I'm confused on the status of my admission.
Yeah, so all offers have been finalized. We will not be making any changes to admission after final transcripts come in. If you've been accepted, no matter if it was early or standard admission, your seat is final.
For academic writing courses, is there a certain time of day that online classes take place? So I don't know about that one, if it's take at your own speed kind of one for our students who have taken it. Brenna?
I can speak to that. When we took academic writing, there were like weekly assignments due. So there wasn't any like lectures you had to attend online. It was a lot of independent work and like maintaining due dates.
Okay. For Greek and Roman Studies 211, are there reserved seats for nursing students?
No, that's just an open option. Lots of our students take it, but we don't reserve seats in it because it's not required.
When we register in our courses, can we use Schedule Builder?
Absolutely, you can.
And then this core 205 class seems popular. Is it possible to take it?
So again, it's a community rehabilitation and disability studies course. It's not our course. If they have the seats restricted right now, then you cannot register in it because it's a requirement for their students for their degree, so they have to give them priority. If they take the restriction down, unfortunately, I don't know the details of courses outside of our faculty. If the restriction comes down later in the summer, you can register in it. But right now, if it's restricted because it's required for those students and it's not a requirement for our degree.
Okay. As our first year students allowed to take spring courses and winter block weeks?
So you can take spring courses next spring, but again, we really recommend that you take your 10 courses in fall and winter. If you choose to take 1 or 2 courses in spring, that's fine. Yes, if you're able to register in a winter block week, you're more than welcome to do so.
Roughly how many students are in a single year of nursing? And then how many students from first year, if maintaining GPA, can progress to second year?
So that's a little bit of a complicated question because we do have 3 different admission routes who at different points in time are in classes together. So we have our direct entry route, which is most of you here coming in directly from high school. We have our transfer route, which is students who have college diplomas or who have started university degrees but haven't finished them. And we have our degree holder route, which is people who have a previous degree. And so at different times in the program, we'll have more students enrolled in a given term, and you'll be in classes with those transfer and degree holder students. We have about 750 students in the faculty at any given time, and from direct entry, there's about 110 students per year.
But everyone, if you get the grades to progress to the next year, it's not like we only have certain spots to progress to the second year. If everybody gets the grades, everybody progresses. There's enough spots for everybody in the following years.
We count on everyone progressing. This isn't like some other programs that want to weed you out. We want everyone to progress and succeed.
So this one, sorry, I missed. When you pin a course down on the course builder, is that where the course will be when you enroll?
That's a good question. I've only used Schedule Builder once, and that was a couple of years ago. I believe so, but again, the NSRA program can help you out with detailed registration and enrollment questions.
And this one's asking if Latin would be beneficial for future nursing terminology. Anyone? Students? Anyone had any experience with Latin? Jonah?
So I took Latin in high school. It was fun, and like in some ways, yes, it might help you, but not Greek and Roman, medical terminology like 211, like Greek and Roman studies, I think that's like the equivalent. So if you're going to learn Latin, then do it, but it's also a dead language, so.
All right. So this is just to officially confirm all students that have been accepted. I'm assuming this is like from the high school direct entry now have a finalized spot.
Yes.
How hard is it to maintain a high GPA during 3rd and 4th year? That's one for our students here. Anyone?
Not a student, but I can tell you I do all of the academic review for the faculty, and the vast majority of our students progress in sequence.
Yeah. And then Brenna, I saw you with your hand up too.
So I just finished my 3rd year. It was fine. It's just they moved to what we called like Nclex style questions. So can be a bit harder. But overall it's a very interesting year. I loved what I learned, and it's great once you get there.
Victoria?
Yeah, just to kind of reiterate and expand on what Brenna said, 3rd year was definitely a little more challenging because it is the later years and building on the things and the foundations we've learned in 1st and 2nd year and all that jazz. So it is a little bit more of a steeper learning curve. It might be a little more difficult to maintain a high GPA, definitely doable. Keep your schedules on track, self-care, and just set yourself up for a high GPA, study really hard. Ultimately, from my experience, it was a bit more challenging. But it's definitely doable, it's definitely possible, and strive to get high marks and do your best.
Excellent. Is there a specific GPA we need to maintain to progress?
Yep. So in year 1 and year 2, you need to get a 2.0 in each of those years over the entire year, so fall and winter. In years 3 and 4, you need to get a 2.5 over the 2 terms. So again, fall and winter average together. And for your anatomy and physiology courses in year 1, and then all of your nursing courses in the subsequent years, you need a minimum grade of C-.
So in this one, I was wondering if anyone has taken Chem 243 and could speak to the course. Any of our students taken that one? No. So apparently not. So unfortunately, we can't speak to that one. This next question we've already kind of addressed, which is option courses that are recommended for first years to take. So again, first and foremost, take things that you're interested in. It's the only time you get to take options. Second of all, the people really recommend that Greek and Roman Studies 211. Other than that, yeah, I know our students already talked about a few other ones that they liked, but it basically can be anything. Oh, sorry, Angelica confirmed not Chem 243, but Chem 203. Is anyone taking Chem 203? Okay, Jonah and Brenna, how was it?
I took Chem 203 during spring summer after my first year. It's really interesting. The thing you have to know with a lot of science courses that involve labs, it's your course, which now is your lab, which is like 2 to 3 hours, and then it's also a tutorial. So it's a lot of things on your plate for a single course. So bear that in mind with your schedule, because it can get stressful towards the end. In terms of the lab and the course itself, it wasn't particularly hard in my opinion.
Good.
Okay, so I have a different opinion. I stated before, I am an out-of-province student, so I had a different high school curriculum in Saskatchewan that did not cover anything that was taught in Chem 203. It was definitely something I should not have taken. Just be forewarned, potentially, if you are coming from out of province, sometimes stuff that is covered in Alberta high schools is not covered in Saskatchewan high schools. I ended up actually withdrawing from the course, which is okay if you have to withdraw from the course, and I made it on to second year and I'm still here, so it's okay. I don't want to scare anyone. I apologize.
Thanks, Brenna. Can you take more than 5 classes if the 6th one is online?
So generally no, unless there was some kind of very extenuating circumstance. 5 courses is considered a standard full-time course load. Anything more than that, we worry that students are going to put themselves at risk of having too much work on their plate. Once students start taking more than 5 courses, there's a significant chance of their grades suffering as well. So typically, no, we would definitely not allow that. I will just throw in here now as well that for your fall and winter courses, you can only take them at the University of Calgary. Don't go thinking you can take courses through other institutions at the same time.
And then this is asking, do we have nursing students who move on to med school?
So I know some of our students have different experiences with this, but I am just going to tell you our faculty's official position is that if you want to go to med school, nursing is not the best choice. You only get those 5 open options in year 1, and that's your only option courses. A lot of medical programs do have science courses that they require students to have, or that students want to take as preparation for the MCAT, and you just don't get the opportunities to do that. Years 2, 3, and 4 of the program, you are in absolutely nothing but nursing classes. You don't have the opportunity to take anything else. And while nursing and medicine are similar and they work side by side, they're very, very different career practices. So it's not a lateral jump.
Okay. Thanks, Emma. And believe it or not, we are at the end of our questions. So I would just like to thank everybody for attending. Thank you guys, everybody, my volunteers and all the participants for their patience at the beginning with the technical difficulties of getting everybody here. So this went much, much longer than we all expected. So again, I appreciate everybody for standing by. Hopefully this was valuable. If you still have some questions that are unanswered, or if you think of things later, you can always email us just at nursing@ucalgary.ca. and we can answer your questions. Yeah, so thank you everyone for participating. If you have questions, definitely be in touch. And otherwise, we'll see you guys soon.